All right, joining us right now is Congress MP, Mr. Manish Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, thank you so much for joining us right here on The Big Fight. My first question to you is, the vaccine is here. New Year begins, thankfully, on a good note. Your thoughts on what needs to be done from here on? See, we have overcome one challenge, but the rollout of the vaccine in itself is going to be a challenge.
Well, Sanket, first of all, a very happy new year to you and to the entire team at NDTV, and of course all your viewers who are watching this program. May 2021 turn out to be better than 2020, which was a terrible year, and I think that is the understatement of this year. Having said that, if I heard you or Vishnu properly, apparently what was being said is that the vaccine is being approved for emergency use. So therefore, it's not very clear at this point in time. What exactly does the government have in mind? Are we going to have a full and complete rollout of the vaccine? Or is the vaccine going to be administered to those people who are most vulnerable? And I think there is an obvious waterfall to that. You know, the elderly, the infirm, people who are above 80, they obviously should get the first priority. Then the frontline health workers in our hospitals, the nurses, the paramedical staff, even the class 4 employees who battled COVID-19 very heroically over the past 9 months, they must be accorded priority. Our armed forces, definitely, given the fact that we are in a face-off situation in Eastern Ladakh, as also our law enforcement instrumentalities. They rank in the pecking order of priority. And so therefore there is an obvious waterfall, which I think is the logical course of action to follow. I believe on the national portal, the government has uploaded, certain criteria of people. I am not really very familiar with the details as to what the pecking order is. But I think common sense and prudence dictates that this is what really should be the rollout plan.
Correct. Now, Mr. Tiwari, the next logical question is going to be, you're right when you say that this is authorization for emergency use and not a full-fledged rollout. But assuming that that is going to happen sooner rather than later, you hail from a state of Punjab, you represent the political party of the Congress. I want to ask you, what exactly is the view of your party and the view of the government of Punjab on, how it should be given and for how much? There is still a lot of ambiguity on whether it should be free of cost or against a charge. What is your view?
Well, I cannot really answer that off the bat, Sanket, because that's a tough question. And I think it will be inappropriate for me, in the absence of any consultation, either with the state government of Punjab or the Indian National Congress, whose national spokesperson I continue to be, to really articulate a position. But my personal position would be that I think it should be dependent upon means. Those who are vulnerable, who are not in a position to afford the vaccine, obviously need to be vaccinated free of cost. But those people who are in a position to pay for the vaccine, and I don't think it's really going to be a very expensive jab, I don't think that there is any harm in charging them a vaccination fee or something. But as I pointed out, this is purely my personal opinion, looking at the whole thing in a very logical and a straightforward manner.
No, the reason why I asked you this question, Mr. Tiwari, because this is obviously the next logical thing to happen. When you inoculate a whole section of people in different states, then who pays for it? See, even if it is free for the people, somebody will have to foot the bill. Let me give you an example. In the run-up to the Bihar elections, in the BJP's manifesto, it clearly said that if they come to power, they are going to make sure that the COVID vaccine is free. Upon being asked this question as to why it should be free in Bihar only and not elsewhere, they said that the state governments will procure these vaccines from the center, and then the state government can decide whether it wants to give free of cost or not. If we come to power in Bihar, we'll give it free of cost. Similarly, other states can also decide.
Well, Sanket, on the first day of 2021, I do not want to use harsh words, but for the lack of a better phraseology, I think that was an extremely obtuse position to take. We should not politicize the vaccine under any circumstances. We should go by the past templates that we have. You know, India has been very successful in rolling out mega vaccination programs over the decades. In fact, one of the reasons which is not yet substantiated but claimed even by very eminent medical experts is that because of the BCG vaccination program, maybe our fatalities to COVID-19 has been less. Then we successfully rolled out the pulse polio vaccination program for every child below a certain age across the country, and which was extremely successful. So therefore, we have a tremendous amount of institutional experience and institutional memory when it comes to rolling out such mega vaccination programs. And I don't think this is something which should be politicized and really left at the whims and fancies of A state government or B state government as to who wants to do it free of cost and who wants to do it for a charge. I think that's a completely and absolutely wrong way of doing it.
So you think the best way will be a centrally monitored, a centrally coordinated effort, a national effort, and not a state-specific effort?
Well, there has to be a uniform criteria. I mean, it should not be that, and I don't want to cast any illusion or any aspersion on any state. It should not be that A state is giving it free of cost and B state is, charging a certain amount of fee. I think there should be a comprehensive criteria evolved. There has to be a triage as to how the rollout has to happen, who's going to pay for it. Will the state government pick up a certain amount of the tab? Will the central government provide a certain amount of subsidy? Will the recipient be paying a certain fee? And those who are more vulnerable or are the vulnerable sections of society, not essentially below the poverty line, they would be inoculated free of cost. I don't think there's any rocket science involved in really laying out this criteria. But to politicize the vaccine, to put it in your election manifestos, to say that if we come to power, we'll give it free of cost, I'm afraid is really reprehensible, because every human life is as important as the next one, whether he or she is an election-going state or in a non-election-going state.
That's a very youthful and interesting shirt that you're wearing, Mr. Tiwari.
Well,
is this an attempt to look young and escape the jab?
This is called trying to recreate your youth when you are getting on in years. Yeah, this is my motorbiking jacket, and this jacket itself is about 25 years old.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tiwari. Thank you so much for joining us.
Lovely, and Happy New Year once again.
Same to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.